Hello and welcome back. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a tote bag like this. I made this bag from an old curtain sample which I bought from my local fabric shop because they were selling them off cheaply as they no longer needed them. It's a nice simple bag with long handles so you can put it over your shoulder. For this tote bag we are going to cut out 2 pieces of fabric 40 centimeters wide and 45 centimeters long. So that's going to be about 16 inches wide and 18 inches long. I'm using a normal pencil to mark it out because nobody's actually going to see that. It will be in the seam allowance. And then I cut round the lines I've just made. For the handles, I folded the fabric in half and I'm going to cut 1 piece of fabric 18 centimeters wide and 32 centimeters long. So I have a nice line to cut on. You could iron if you prefer. And then I cut along the score line I've just made, making 2 handles. Now take your 2 large bag pieces and put them together with right sides facing and then pin around the sides, leaving the top side open. We're going to stitch around 3 of the sides, the side, the bottom and the other side, leaving the top open. So make sure you know which way round you'd like your bag to go, because I have a bit of a pattern here, so I want my flowers facing upwards. I mean, if you've only got a small pattern, probably doesn't really matter which is the top and which is the bottom, but in this case it does. Take your fabric to the sewing machine and take in a 1.5 centimeter seam allowance, sew around the 3 sides, leaving the top side open. When we get to the corners, we need to leave our needle in the down position, lift our foot up, turn it around, foot back down and carry on sewing to the end, remembering to back tack when we do get to the end. As a beginner, there are 2 ways you could finish off your seams. The first and easiest, which I'm using now, is my pinking shears. They are just a zigzag scissor and you just cut close to the seam allowance, making sure you don't cut the seam. And the second is to just use a zigzag stitch at the side of your straight seam you've already done. Now, to turn under the top edge of your bag, I'm measuring 1.5 centimeters, turning it over and then turning that over again, so I kind of get a double hem, both 1.5 centimeters. Put a pin in it and carry on in this fashion all the way along until you reach where you started. Take your bag over to the sewing machine and we're going to sew around the top edge, back tacking to start, and I'm sewing very close to the edge of my pinned up hem. I'd say about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. It's up to you where you sew. You've done a double hem, so you needn't sew quite as close if you're not sure you could do that. Anyway, we sew all the way around the bag until we reach the start. It's a little bit tricky when you get to the sides where you've got quite a thickness of fabric, but I find that if you push the fabric down a little bit and go very slowly, you might need to use the hand wheel over these bits, but you will get over it. And when you get back to the start, just back tack again to secure your stitching. Put your hand inside the bag to the corner and push out both sides of the seam to make a triangle at the corner and match your top and bottom seam up together. Then mark a line 3.5 inches or 8.5 centimeters across, making sure it's nice and level. Make sure that your 1 3/4 inches is on the center line. That way you'll know you'll get your line nice and level. Now that we've pinned and marked our corners, we're going to take the bag over to the machine and sew across the line that we've just made, remembering to back tack at the start and the finish, removing the pins as we go along. Doing exactly the same on both sides. And then trim both of the corners about 1/4 of an inch from the stitching. If you like, you can do a zigzag stitch to stop the seam from fraying. Now take both of the handle pieces and fold down the centre and iron. Then take each outside and fold those into the centre, meeting in the middle on the mark you've just made with the first iron. Then you fold this in half. Do the same with both the handles, repeating these steps. When you get to the end of each strap, you'll need to turn under about 1 centimetre and then fold back over in the same way as the rest of the strap, and then clip or pin in place. Now take your straps over to the sewing machine and we're going to sew close to the edge on all 4 sides, starting with a back tack, lowering our needle, lifting our foot and turning when we get to each corner. As you can see here, I'm not quite doing enough stitches, so I have to do a few more stitches by turning the hand wheel, and off we go again. You'll sew down all the sides. If you need to, pin them. I'm afraid sometimes I forget to pin things, but it's best if you pin them really. If you pin all the way down, it'd be a lot easier. I'm also using quite a tricky fabric here. I'd advise using a cotton canvas. This is a man-made fabric. I think it's a viscose or something. Anyway, it's what I chose to use, but it probably wasn't the best choice. Do exactly the same with both of your handles, keeping about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge and sewing all the way round. Now that we've made our bag handles, we need to pin them to the bag. I measure 8 centimetres in from the side, and then I put a chalk mark just so I don't forget where it should be, and then I measure 4 centimetres down and make sure that the bottom of my strap is 4 centimetres. Put another mark just in case I lose where I'm going to put it, and then I pin it in place and do the same to all 4. Now that your handles are pinned to your bag, you can take over to the sewing machine and on the inside sew around all 4 sides, remembering to do the top edge as well. Almost there. Our bag is almost complete. Just 1 step left. Trim off any excess cotton threads to neaten it up. And here is our finished bag. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, could you please like and subscribe? Thank you.